An Israeli strike killed 3 at a refugee camp, with a further 3 killed elsewhere on the Gaza Strip, say Palestinian hospital officials. 4 people, including a 13-year-old, were injured after Russian drones struck a civilian building in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. An Israeli strike on the southern edge of the Gaza Strip killed at least 3, while a further 3 were killed after a strike hit a refugee camp, according to Palestinian hospital officials. The strikes come as a delegation from Hamas was scheduled to visit Egypt for further talks with Israel. Ceasefire talks mark a new sign of progress in attempts of international mediators to make an agreement between Israel and Hamas to end the war in Gaza. The Israeli Prime Minister pledged last week to launch an incursion into Rafah, despite warnings from Western officials that doing so could result in more civilian deaths and worsen the humanitarian crisis.
Protests continue in Georgia against the so-called Foreign Agents Bill. The proposed law would compel media and NGOs to register as foreign agents if receiving more than 20% of their funding from abroad. Critics say it could stifle opposition to the government and threaten Georgia's EU ambitions. Large demonstrations have gripped the country's capital, Tbilisi, for weeks.
4 people, including a 13-year-old, were injured after Russian drones struck a civilian building in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Russians attacked the area with drone strikes after midnight, according to Ukrainian journalists. The city is Ukraine's second largest and is only 40 kilometers from the Russian border. In the Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine, Russian troops have been advancing. The region has been on the receiving end of military attacks for weeks. Most of its residents have fled the area, and Ukraine's military have acknowledged a Russian foothold. The area is important because by capturing it, Russia gained control of an area from which they can attack cities that form the backbone of Ukraine's defenses.
Turkish President Erdogan has suspended all of Turkey's trade with Israel until further notice.
Tüm Batı İsrail'e çalışıyor. Başta Amerika olmak üzere bunlar hep İsrail'e çalışıyorlar. Ve bu kadar imkanlar seferber edilerek ne yazık ki Filistin'in o garip kuraba, fakir, yoksul insanları İsrail'in bu bombaları karşısında ölüme mahkum edildiler ve bunun karşısında artık biz daha sabredemezdik ve adımlarımızı attık.
Erdogan blamed Israel's military offensive in Gaza and said trade would resume under a ceasefire. Trade between Turkey and Israel amounts to $9.5 billion a year. Cybersecurity defenders have been preparing for possible attacks during the Paris Olympic Games. They have studied the tactics of potential attackers, looking at their strengths and weaknesses. Experts warn attacks target both the games and other critical infrastructure, such as transport.
Moi, j'en ai la conviction profonde d'avoir un bon niveau de sécurité, d'une part chez nos opérateurs critiques habituels, les opérateurs des transports, de l'électricité, de l'énergie au sens large, de toutes ces choses sans lesquelles le pays ne fonctionne pas. On a la chance en France de leur avoir imposé depuis quasiment 10 ans des obligations de cybersécurité.
Analysts say some threats could come from Russia or other countries that want to embarrass or exact costs from the French. Amid the war in Ukraine, Olympic organizers have barred Russian athletes from the Games, although some can compete as neutrals.